I'm Socrates Koumpardas, the CEO and co-founder of Gracely. Gracely is one of the newest church finance software in the States.
What are some of the biggest struggles, maybe problems that churches have had with managing stuff, whether it's things or whether it's events? And I'm especially interested in how technology can help pastors and church leaders to do that better.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. The most of the churches are using spreadsheets or they're using outdated softwares. It's not up to date. For example, we live in 2025, as you understand. Or a lot of churches use paper. So they want to track attendance, they want to track check-ins, manage donations. They somehow need to add and mark every contribution. And also it's very hard to coordinate everything about events, giving, people management, mass communication. It's very hard. So I think that every church need to have a solution like a church software like Gracely or whatever they want to use, because software can centralize everything. So an all-in-one platform, they can connect their members, they can send their email or they can send text messages, but also they can have in one place with tax statements, with their families. They can know better their congregation and they can have, for example, some reports in order to take some actions, because church is a community and they need to learn from the community in order to provide their services much better. And also, the most important part is that churches need to save time. It's very hard to teaching, leading, and having all of the contributions happy. So they need to improve their member engagement with their church, and also they need to focus on the ministry. So a software can help them to focus on ministry and not on paperwork.
Yeah. So it's like spending less time and energy
Right.
tracking, looking for paper, figuring out spreadsheets and that type of thing, spending less time doing that. So you can spend more time actually doing ministry, whether it's preaching or discipleship or teaching or whatever. This is one of my early positions in a church. I was just an intern. And one of my jobs was to actually schedule out all the children's ministry volunteers. And that was a nightmare. Now, what I will say, though, is there can be a real learning curve. And I think some pastors are nervous or afraid to actually bring new software in or trying out a church management software. So what would you say to pastors, maybe some advice that you would give them who are maybe a little nervous about trying a church management software?
The first and most important advice is you need to start small. You need to select only one or two key features from your church software. Let's say that you want to have a better communication or to automate your tax statements, to have accurate tax statements. So I think that you need to start small. This is my first advice. The second advice, select a user-friendly church management software. You need to select something that can save you time. A software can improve your communication, let's say, and also everything goes with strengthening community. So you have a centralized software, could you with member management, sending emails.
I think there's a couple of really good things you said there. So I think firstly, the first piece of advice is starting small. I think that's huge because when you're starting small, then the number of people that you have to train in the new software is a lot smaller. It's a lot more manageable. And then you tie that as well into the second point, which is something that's actually user-friendly. Because it's one thing to say, okay, we're going to invest the money and a bunch of resources and energy to start using this new software. But if people aren't going to use it because it's too hard, then it's a useless investment. As a side note, I think that's one thing Gracely does well is you guys do have, it is very user-friendly, which maybe you were going to say that later on anyway, but I'll just say it right now. It's like, it is a very user-friendly option.
I think the must thing for choosing the right software, for example, it's to have a very good support or knowledge base or training videos. So it could be much easier for you and for your church to adopt a new software because it's overwhelming to choose the right software or to go to another software.
Yeah. I've written one of the things, when we're looking at all the different types of software that are out there, we've got, a specific grid or like a rubric that we apply to a specific piece of software. And one of the things that we look at is how strong is the support base that's there. And if you're looking for tutorials or if you're looking for videos or looking for that knowledge base or FAQs and stuff like that, that's something that we look at too in the leadpastor.com. And so that's again, what's things I think Gracely does a pretty good job of that. And like you guys have a pretty good knowledge base. And so people who are learning Gracely or their people are learning Gracely, you can find some pretty good support there. So maybe kind of putting you on the spot a bit, but When you look at the different users that you have and different churches that are using Gracely, what are some churches maybe that are using Gracely like an interesting way or creative way, or they're seeing really good results from it? Do you have anything like
Mhm.
that that you could share with us?
Yeah, I think that I can share a very good story because it was one of our very first customers when we started on February 2023. It was a very small church with around 50 members, and now they have more than 80. So they was using another software, and also I had the conversation with the pastor, and what they wanted is they have a very good website, so they wanted to improve their website for their congregation and have everything inside of them. So what they needed from us was to prepare an embeddable forms. This is what they
Mm,
needed in order to accepting member registrations, and also what they wanted more is to replace their old outdated software for online giving system with our embeddable widget. At the end, after this collaboration that we started, they improved their church website. So it was more creative for their congregation. They can find everything, their website, to submit any form for the upcoming events, to be a member of the church, and also to give one time or recurring giving. They saw increased giving. The overall experience for their congregation, it was much better than previous. In our first year as Gracely, we helped them with their year-end tax statements, which with one click got 50 tax statements very quickly in their PC, and they shared it with their congregation.
and that's what I was going to say. I'm pastoring a church plant. And so we're just past 6 years. And so we started with 30 people, and like, especially in those early days, going from 30 to 50 to 70 to 80, like that's almost double the size. Like seeing that you guys were able to come along and provide some of that infrastructure and that structure and processes and systems that they needed. Like, I love that. That's awesome. One of the other things that I think is unique about Gracely is that the way that your company is structured, you're able to respond to requests for
Right.
like specialized needs and specialized solutions really, really well. And I think this story is a great example of that, where I'm like, okay, the church is like, okay, we were using Gracely, but we need additional help. You guys were able to come together with a cool solution, which I think that's awesome.
Right. Yeah. In general, we're trying to be a trusted partner in their church growth. So
Yeah.
personally, I spend a lot of my time to check everything about Gracely and also our accounts and our customers. So I'm trying to see if someone wants help, and I'm here for them. We're trying to improve Gracely before they ask from us. So it's
Mm,
very important for us to improve Gracely every day, every week. We make weekly releases. So it's very important for us to keep up to date with the trends, let's say, with the market and in general in the software.
I mean, that kind of opens the door perfectly for my next question, which was, the world's changing fast. And for pastors who are using church management software, how are you seeing things changing? Like, what are your guesses as to what the future of church management software looks like? Are there things pastors should be preparing for that?
Yeah, in general, AI and generative AI, it's a very hot topic in every
Yeah.
industry. I think that we need to apply these new technology in the church industry because it's very important for them. And I think that AI can help you with reporting tools, for example, to analyze trends for everything. AI could help pastors to identify the needs of the congregation and make the better decisions. AI could help, for example, also to the mass communication. So let's say that we are a church with more than 100 members and we can send a personalized communication to each one. We are looking also to adopt these new technology into Gracely and also to help, for example, with self-service tools for the
Mhm.
members. So yeah, AI it could be a very useful solution. I think that every church management software needs to adopt this new technology.
For sure. For sure. And I mean, AI is a huge rabbit hole, right?
Right.
I'm finding it's almost like an intern who's very detailed and very task oriented. If you think of an AI agent like that, it's like, okay, they can help look at all the giving trends. They can help you to write emails that are going to be like really succinct and they're going to get to the point, but also still feel good, right? It opens up a ton of possibilities. And really, church management software has a huge potential to open up capacity for pastors and church
Mhm.
leaders. If you're using church management software that fits you and it fits your church, man, like you will be spending less and less time on the admin, on the to-dos, and you end up spending more time in study, in prayer, in discipleship, the things that we as
Mhm.
pastors get into ministry for the first place. So if pastors watching this need to know just like one thing about church management software, what would that be? in your perspective?
From my experience, what I've seen is that your church isn't a spreadsheet, it's a community.
Mm,
So the right tools could help every church to have a broader community, to nurture their people and not to just manage their data. So it's very important for every church to use a churchman software in order to have a better community, as you understand. And yeah, it's very important to know that software, it's not to take your ministry. It's not against you, as you understand. It's here. It's there to help you grow your community, grow your giving, help your congregation to find what they need from your community. And also it helps you to save your time. It's very
mhm.
important for every church leader to save the time. I'm talking every day with church leaders and they have more than one or two tools. So they have another software for giving, another software for members management, another software for communication. It's very hard to manage all of them. So you need to choose the right tool that can capture the most of the needs. For us, for example, we're asking what they need. We are here to discuss how we can build better and how we can capture all of the needs. The best tool is the tool that can capture everything.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Every church is unique, as you understand.
Yeah. I think the other
So,
interesting thing too is that, and we've seen this at theleadpastor.com, where churches often start with the software, and then the more that you use it, the harder it gets to switch away. And so that's why
mhm,
choosing something that's going to work really well for you and your church is so important. That's where I think Gracely does have a lot to offer, in the sense that it is geared, I think, towards churches that are. I mean, here's the thing: 85% of churches in the U.S. are 250 people or below. And
mhm.
so that bracket, like, Gracely fits really, really well. I think Gracely is a great option for people. Socrates, man, thank you so much for your time today. Very much appreciate it. Looking forward to having more conversations, man.
Thanks.